We've all been a beginner at some point when it comes to triathlon. So today we're going to talk to you about how exactly to get into the sport. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel. So Tim, how and when did you get into triathlon?
Well, when? Many years ago, in the early 90s. I was a junior, I was 13 at the time, and I ran at my local running club, and I loved swimming, and I swam a lot. And then I'm at my local swimming pool in West London. There was a triathlon club, and I thought, wow, this looks pretty cool. And I went there on a Thursday evening, because that was the club swim, and then they did a run afterwards. And I just loved the vibe. I genuinely did. I joined my local club, Thames Turbo, and I never looked back. I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the uniqueness. This is when triathlon wasn't in the Olympics. It wasn't a massive sport, and I loved it. So that's how I got into it. Did you join a club? How did you get into it, Emily?
No, I was the least sporty person you could ever meet as a child.
What? I don't believe that for a start.
It's true.
So anyone can get into triathlon?
Absolutely. And I would say at any age. I didn't get into it until my early 20s. And I started running because it's pretty accessible. And to be honest, I thought I probably should do some exercise at this point in my life. And my dad actually had signed up for a full distance triathlon. And I watched the training, did some of the running with him, and I went to watch it and I just thought, wow, this is mental. I don't swim, I don't cycle, but I want to do this. And that was it. I started training for a full distance triathlon not long after.
Oh wow, so your dad got you into it. I like that. So friends, family, often people know someone. Back in the day, no one did, but now I think we can say everyone knows someone who's done a triathlon, and it is kind of like on that list of, oh, I wonder what it's like. And you don't have to do a full distance in your first one, like someone did over here. I definitely started with a local triathlon. In fact, the swim was in the swimming pool. It was in the swimming pool, and it was a 20-kilometre bike and then a 5-kilometre run.
I think that's often what puts people off, isn't it, as well? They maybe run or they've done a bit of cycling, but they've never done swimming, for example. Don't let it put you off, because I didn't do any swimming lessons until my early 20s, and I can still do long distance. Not very fast, but I can do them. So, you can get into it at any point, whatever your starting point is.
So when we say get into triathlon, you can't wake up on a Thursday morning and say, do you know what? I want to do a triathlon this weekend. It doesn't happen like that. They're oversubscribed. You need to find a race. You need to enter one. So the best thing to do is go onto your National Federation website. They have a whole events calendar. Pick a race or ask a friend that really excites you. Then you need to enter the race. Normally it's going to be probably between 1 and 6 months in the future. So then you work backwards from entering the race.
Yeah, and then it's all about the training. So like you said, triathlon's not a sport that you do every weekend. We don't go out and do a swim, bike, run, but we train for it every week, every weekend, and it's a process to get us to our end point, which is the event that you mentioned. So talking about training, there's quite a few different ways you can go about it. I would recommend joining a triathlon club.
100%.
That's how you got into triathlon.
That's how I got into it. You get that community, you get that accountability of, hey, let's go for a ride. Okay, I've got to meet them, got to get ready. It's the journey, it's not the end result always. It really is good to join a local club.
Because even though triathlon is an individual sport, it's actually a very social sport. I don't know about you, but every weekend
Until you pin the number on, then it's not social unless you're winning. I'm joking.
Then you're in it to win it. No, but every weekend I plan my social around my cycling ride. I go to cafe stops like we're here. The training does not have to be an individual sport.
And training, it doesn't always have to be crazy hard. You don't have to train twice a day like the professionals. If you're swimming 2 times a week, if you're riding your bike 2 or 3 times a week, running twice a week, and it doesn't have to be massive hours. You can do virtually any distance off 5 hours a week minimum. It is better if you do a bit more. You could add some structure in your training to get the most out of your time, your energy. And one of the great platforms to do that is Humango AI.
Absolutely, they take care of the training plan for you. So if you don't know where to begin, that is a great tool to use. Rather than paying for a coach or getting a generic plan, using Humango is kind of that in between, that sweet spot that can fit around your lifestyle. So if you can't make club sessions or you can't change your work schedule, the app can sort that for you.
Absolutely. So we've now we've picked the race, we know we need to do some training and we've worked backwards. You're gonna need to invest in some equipment. You need a bike. Do you need a high flying, super swanky bike? No, you need a bike with 2 wheels. I have seen in transitions on race day the equivalent of Boris bikes. Those bikes that, are we allowed to say Boris bikes anymore? They're going to change the name. Anyway, I've seen people in transition with those renter bikes. Obviously, it is better to have a safe bike with good brakes, nice tyres, make sure you've got new tyres, put some oil on your chain, the very basics. You want a good running bike. You're most likely racing in this country, going to need a wetsuit. Again, you don't need a top of the range wetsuit, do you?
I got my first wetsuit secondhand off eBay.
Yeah. My first wetsuit had a zip here and it was a vest and it was too big for me, so I cut it and then glued it together.
Wow.
No lie. That was the first wetsuit I ever had. It even had little zips here on my ankles. You just need the wetsuit to keep you warm because the water's so cold. So you don't need to spend a fortune. You can do some research. There are so many resources out there that you can look on. When it comes to the run, you probably best not to have shoelaces. You need elastic laces. But again, you know, you don't need to have these super swanky carbon shoes. Just as long as you've got a pair of runners, you're good to go. You really are.
Absolutely. Key things, I think, a pair of trainers, a wetsuit which you can borrow, a bike again you can borrow one. Something to run in, something to cycle in, and that's pretty much it. So we've had very different journeys getting into triathlon. You've taken yours a little bit further than I have. What are your top 3 tips for anyone starting out in their triathlon journey?
Oh, top 3 tips. Definitely you've got to have that goal. You want to enter a race early on so you've got something to aim for. Join a club. Have fun, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. That's my number 2 tip. And my number 3 tip is you don't need to spend a fortune on equipment. You really don't. You've got a wetsuit you can borrow, you've got a bike you can borrow, and a pair of running shoes.
I think that all sounds great to me. Let us know if you are thinking about entering your first triathlon. Drop us a comment to let us know what your race is, how far away it is, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up.